What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Viral. Today I have a little bit of an issue that I identified that may be a good thing for my system, and this may be a good thing that can help some of you guys out there, especially ones that have like trunk builds, people that have a wall build, really a no wall build, really anything, even under seat systems. So anything in general. This topic is going to be good for guys that are base heads that are looking to maybe find ways to improve output in an area that most people wouldn't consider. And I've talked about this one before, but some people may not have watched that video or may have forgotten, or this may be something that you already know, and some of you are going to think this is stupid. But anyway, this is something that a lot of people need to understand. So I'm going to go ahead and get to it. I just want to say beforehand, anybody new watching, that this is not a pretty system by no means, and how I work this thing up that I'm about to show you is not in the most optimal way. But I got a single 12 in my big box here, and it's not the prettiest, but I like it. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this topic is focusing on airspace and flex, and how you can get rid of flex, how you get rid of some of your airspace, and pretty much how your stock vehicle is aligned within your cabin. There's some air that you can come into play. So let me show you for example. So I'm telling you, this is crazy what I did here, guys. But if you remember, if anybody doesn't, every area across my cab panel of my truck, there was a lot of holes and pockets everywhere. I sealed off and broke, or pretty much placed tape in, so that way, because what happens is this is additional space in my enclosure of my, I have to look at my vehicle cabin as an enclosure. But you see right here, this is one example I wanted to point out. So what I did with this tape everywhere is I taped into it. So right here it's starting to break. So I started off with one piece of tape here, and now I got literally like 4 layers and it's starting to break. And this goes for the whole vehicle. So what I'm looking at here with this is identifying the areas that I'm flexing the most, or in a sense where my cabin is building up a lot of pressure. Because all of this in here, inside of this whole thing, the way a vehicle is manufactured with automation, robots, assemblers, pretty much the way it's fabricated and designed. And every vehicle has this concept because every vehicle's got some form of cage that it builds around. So if you're that dedicated, you have to remove your panels and all like I did, but you want to Dynamat all of it if you can, because what's happening is right now I got air traveling and getting trapped inside of this whole internal space, pretty much how it's stored. So underneath this box, there was a lot of space I also stored that had a lot of air that was getting trapped. All in here into the light panels, I had a lot that I sealed off with tape. So this isn't the most efficient way to do this. Right here broke last week, actually. I put in 3 layers of tape here. It used to be 1, so right here broke because all of this was getting air travel. So look right here as an example. So this was 1 layer of tape. You see how that broke? So that shows me that there's a lot of pressure trying to build back here, which is a good thing. That means it's loud, it's getting louder, but what it means is I need to invest in some more Dynamat tape or some fiberglass resin, some carpet, something that I can layer over these hole pockets so I don't have pressure escaping in these areas. And nothing flexes. There's no way this is barely flexing. It's just that the tape is starting to get broken in some areas because I'm actually building enough pressure and output for it to pop or flex or move or pretty much escape. So they're making escape routes. And anytime you have an air escaping inside your vehicle, you're losing output. It's not just on an SPL level, but just on an output level. So let's say when you open your door, some people get louder, some don't, or you put your windows down, you get louder or you don't, depending on the system. But what happens is some people that don't get louder, what it is because some of your pressure is escaping your system. And it really just depends on every system on that. So I never really make a video on the back end, but what I've done here also, where I took out the back panel in my truck, and I'm telling you this is ugly, is I taped around here. But what's happened is there's a lot of areas here that it was escaping that I sealed off. I mean, every little hole counts. It looks crazy, but I'm not worried about looks. So I added some wood here, so I need to reinforce this a little more. That's why I don't get very much flex either, is because I reinforced a lot of my back end where a lot of the flex comes. So I'll have to double or triple layer this tape. And I also have Dynamat behind this wood. So I call it Dynamat. It could be called something else. But that is a very important topic that a lot of people might not realize is, for example, let's say you're going to trunk build and you have all these panels that you could Dynamat that are flexing and moving, or you got stuff like this. Because you see, if you look at this profile right here, see the profile, that was an actual whole fabricated stock panel entrance from the cabin stock area of the truck. So I taped all around this. So this isn't the most appropriate way to tape it. It'd make more sense for me to put a block of wood here, or put some fiberglass here, or put Dynamat or something that's more sturdy. But I just rigged it to make it work. But I'm telling you, that's little stuff like that in every area helps contain pressure. So I'm going to reinforce this, and what I'm doing is going to be going around every area of my vehicle, identifying anywhere that stuff's escaping. So about a month or two ago, I made a video on Dynamat in the door in the back. So the same thing goes here. So that your doors, you can see it, there's areas on this as an example where it dips off. But what happens is your doors have a lot, I mean, if you look at the thickness of the door, all of that is additional airspace. So the more airspace you have, the less contamination or containment you have of pressure, depending on the system. So like, that's why a lot of people with a trunk build is going to be louder with my single 12 than a vehicle like mine, because there's so much space I have in my actual vehicle. So it's a lot harder to get louder. But if there's ways for me to contain that and remove anything that's trapping that pressure and bring it and all direct it all within the actual system in the vehicle, it's a lot easier to contain that. So even I'll show you up front. So now for an example for the guys that are walled. So I used to have 415s walled here. So all the way across this panel, it was walled. You can see all the yellow and stuff because I used to have 4 layers of wood here. It literally would come down to here. It was braced, and now I literally took it all out. But a wall build. But what happened is, you see, like I taped it here because you have stock areas on your door. You also have to realize that you get air that travels underneath. So you can see where I removed all my foam, I had carpet, and I had resin, and there was blocks of wood all the way up to this area to seal off the wall. Because what happens is, if you don't seal it off, it'll actually, you'll lose output, you'll lose some of your lows, you don't have as much cone control, you have more cabin space in your vehicle, and it doesn't get as loud. It might not be easily seen by ear, but with SPL, or as you improve, it will be noticed by ear. So same thing goes up here. So I've made many videos with this in the front with metering and testing and stuff, but a lot of people don't think about it. So why do I have all this Dynamat up here? So all this Dynamat up here, some of these areas, like this block right here, you guys don't realize this, but this block of wood here, there's a big panel right behind that block of wood where the AC was. That big panel was leaking, so I gained almost a dB by just removing the panels and holes and pretty much sealing off my whole front area. You don't have to take your dash out and make it look ugly like I did, but if you remove your panels and you notice that with some areas, you'll be surprised of how much base is escaping your system just by your cabin of your vehicle, the framework of it, and the design. I mean, automotive industries aren't designing and building to a base head. They're building to fabricate and manufacture at a large scale to make money. Same with this wood. So like right now, I used to have tape here. So that means I'm actually losing output here because I have a piece of wood here. It's ugly, like I mentioned, but it's escaping behind the wood into the door. But that's the video today. Focusing on that, that's an issue I'm having. So I'm going to be looking into improving that by literally just kind of sealing off some of the areas. I'm going to invest in some more Dynamat and Dynamat some of these areas that are flexing and moving, and I'll show y'all an update to come. So thanks for watching. Hope I taught y'all something. If not, then let me know. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video as always, and let me know what y'all think. Learning as I go, just like everybody else, and we'll see where we go with this. I'll see y'all.